Just half a mile from downtown Austin, wildlife of all kinds found Briana Miriani and Mark Biechler's new address at the old home and garden they restored. When they united their separate households, they also teamed up as gardeners to turn a ramshackle yard into a neighborhood welcome mat.
We knew we wanted to plant the whole front yard with very little turf grass. So, we just kind of worked at it, and we had dealt with a lot of really organic things and, wandering paths and stuff, and it just didn't work in this small of a space. So we really went with a very formal, very structured, shape to the yard, and then the plantings became much more loose and wonderful.
In their new beds, Mark and Briana recycled layers of newspapers covered by mulch to stifle weeds. Then they planted for a bit of privacy from the street, but open enough to encourage interaction with the neighbors. They sprinkled in understory texture and rotating perennial color. Mark built raised beds with well-drained soil for the cactus and succulents he brought from his old house. But Mark's design for the beds had another significance.
It's important to have these little structural things, like even the boxwoods up there. It helps to give a foundation to things, because things can get really kind of out of control and wild fast if you don't have those things there.
Strips of grass also signify definition.
I want a little bit of turf grass just to walk in, so we left the paths. Basically, our paths are turf grass.
And the stone paths were here, and our plan is to eventually take that out and put in grass with some pavers. Just have a little more grass, because it's pretty. The stone paths, they're old and they're kind of falling apart, and I'd like to have a little more, not so much surface of rock,
I think it would add a little contemporary feel that would mix nice with the old house, just kind of that old and new sort of,
Yeah.
Agreement on style also means compromise when two avid gardeners come together.
Yeah, he has to put up with me wanting to put all kinds of stuff. So the mishmash of stuff is more from my end. And
she puts up with me with wanting more formal things throughout the yard.
And he would like to move things more than I like to put things in the ground and let them stay there.
And so. I like to futz with them a lot and trim and poke around.
Somehow it works.
Yeah, it does.
In back, they're working in new shade when a tree they planted quickly shot up and changed their sunny dynamics.
Then there's quite a few buildings back. I mean, we got a garage and a little workshop, so the backyard is really broken up into smaller spaces, which kind of is cool because it makes, it's like little secret gardens back there. Right behind the garage, we did all tropical, so we got bananas and rice paper plants, and I've got this really unusual silk floss tree, so that's, kind of strange tropical area, and then the main part of the backyard, just hangout area, and there's just little tiny gardens everywhere, so it kind of makes it fun, and also in a strange way makes it feel more spacious. Like, people always comment that we have this big backyard, but it's
really small.
Having fun in the garden with scavengers around town was a quirk they brought from their singular gardens. Though so far, Mark hasn't brought out all the bowling balls that detailed his last garden. They found some of their yard art actually in the garden.
The golf balls were found here. As I was digging beds, I'd find golf balls. I've picked them up out of other people's yards. I walk around, I see a golf ball, and now that I have a golf ball collection going, I just kind of pick it up, bring it home, throw it in the stack. The little swans or whatever, they were dumpster diving.
Not dumpster diving. They were. It was bulky pickup. They were out on the street in bulky pickup.
We did the bed lining of Topo Chico bottles, so that was just drinking a lot of Topo Chico last summer.
Some friends gave us that. Yeah, and we just...
I think they were throwing it out. We're like, Bree saw it and was like, that'd make a great planter.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah. We switch out. Sometimes it'll have herbs, sometimes it'll have annuals. It's got a little both now.
Together, they made Briana's bottle tree.
I just love it. And I tell you, people stop walking down the street and comment on that bottle tree. And just, it really brings a smile to people's faces.
The neighbors are also buddies with the dogs, part of Bree and Mark's family of rescued pets, including feral cats they've saved from the street and tamed. Rescue and renewal, in all its renditions, is simply part of who they are.
It's definitely a melding of two visions that came together really nice.